I think one of the things which comes out definitely is that some people did experience hostility in terms of the village. They didn't feel welcome. Uh, some were seen to be threatening, for a lot. Sometimes the stereotypes, if you like, the stereotypes that we have now is of the Muslim community, partly because of the scrutiny over them about the way they dress and so forth. But at that time, in the mid-1990s, was late, around 2000 time, it was all about whether you were a black person and whether you were going to be seen not dealing with drugs or not going to be aggressive. So the very stereotyping people. There was also this idea about whiteness. Can you imagine the absence of blackness in a white space? So seeing, you go into a room now and you go into a multicultural space, do you see difference? You go into a white-only space and a black person appears, there's a black dot there, and you just suddenly think, that's not quite right. Why do I feel uncomfortable with that? So what is the fear there? What is the issue that's going on there? And it works both ways, yeah? So for some it was about feeling the village was a safe space for them, and we tried very hard. Our first attempt at the club now was here in the village. I think a couple of times later we tried to move it out, and then there was a bit of a backlash. It's too far away from the village. Oh my God, a 10-minute walk. In London, you walk you have to travel an hour to get somewhere. 10 minutes is too much here. So there is an issue here about the Manchester's particular way of its development of what it means to be the village. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, which I think is just about age, really, it wasn't about a club experience. It was about sexual health messages. Why are we focusing on because where are the messages coming from in terms of sexual health at that time around HIV and AIDS, particularly HIV? And it was about the stigma, it's about the taboos, and so some of our work was about looking at how do we get stronger, more positive images of black people in the public, so people recognize that's me too. And part of us working with, at that time, the Healthy Gay Manchester, to help and support them to start thinking about the images that they produce, so it's not all monocultural and men. Okay, it's a men's project. So at the beginning, obviously, it was about men. But this is interesting because I think the history of LGBT projects is about survival and thriving, and about getting the resources behind it. I think if you're a black lesbian gay person, then you find that the issues are around resources, about acceptance. So it's double. You experience double the struggles, if you like, from within your own community, partly because they don't accept it and they don't see it as of value. Where do you go for funds within your own community to raise funds like that? And if we go to the wider community, the wider lesbian gay community, they don't see your need in particular, they see it as part of many needs. And so this is why the challenge is accept. You want to be accepted on your own terms, not because you fit some sort of a quota or a tick box. We need this group to be included in our funding application. And that's not, for me, it's not substantial, or it's not embedded. It's not going to create the change for the long term. It's ad hoc, it's temporary, it's transitory. And I think if you look now, I think that's what you see. If you look at the history of, I look now with very positive. I look at Rainbow Noir, and I think the excitement around that, the young people that's involved with that project, they meet fortnightly, they get involved. I think it's moved on, and that you could argue that social media has helped a lot. I look back and I think one of the interesting things now is that it provides you anonymity that a lot of black and young people need at a time when they're just deciding on the choices they're having to make. It also means that they don't have to deal with somebody, so they're pushing it off, which is not such a good thing actually, because you're just pushing it behind. So part of my thinking now is that actually we do need. I know of my age group, I'm 50+ group. I can't say that quite scary, isn't it? 50+ group. But there are a lot of us who are either in relationship or not in relationship, but we've created our lives for ourselves as a good support family, alternative family, dare I say the word. And that's quite solid and quite strong. But I also know individual people who haven't had that experience and who are probably feeling quite alone in their own families around their sexual identity. So I just feel that we're just scratching the surface, because I mean, I know as you get older, the needs your needs change as you get older. So I can't imagine myself being in an old people's home, but there you go. If there is one, if there's old people, is that the right word? But those sort of homes, I think, what is the scenario for us? As we get older, will we be included in those spaces? And if we don't argue for them now, will they ever be met? Who will look after that need? And there's, scary prospect.